bad teeth. Absolute. A touch of national health and a touch of absolute laziness. I mean, in my childhood...
Best known as the snarling frontman of the Sex Pistols, has long been celebrated as punk's loudest voice of rebellion. But behind the confrontational persona and chaotic performances was a listener with remarkably deep and unconventional musical tastes. Rotten wasn't inspired by what was loud or shocking for its own sake. He was drawn to artists who took risks, pushed boundaries, and refused to follow anyone's expectations. Here are 6 musicians who profoundly shaped his understanding of art and helped fuel his evolution far beyond the punk stereotype. 6. Captain Beefheart. Captain Beefheart's experimental blues struck Rotten like a revelation. In the mid-1970s, when popular music leaned toward polished rock excess, Beefheart was creating something wild, jagged, and unapologetically strange. What impressed Rotten wasn't just the sound, but the absolute independence behind it. Beefheart refused to compromise, even when it cost him opportunities. That sense of artistic integrity became a guiding force for Rotten, later surfacing in public image Lenteed's willingness to break rhythmic norms, distort traditional song structures, and embrace vocal expression that was more emotional than melodic. 5. Scott Walker. Scott Walker's transformation from pop idol to avant-garde visionary fascinated Rotten when he discovered Walker's solo work in 1976. Here was a man who walked away from fame to pursue music that was darker, heavier, and emotionally complex. Rotten admired that courage. Walker's atmospheric arrangements and surreal lyrical approach encouraged Rotten to rethink what a singer could do. It wasn't about pleasing audiences, it was about exploring new territory. That lesson helped Rotten develop his own instinct for artistic reinvention. 4. Lee Scratch Perry. Lee Scratch Perry unlocked an entirely new sonic world for Rotten. Perry's dub production, layered with echo, reverb, and unpredictable textures, showed that a studio wasn't just a tool for recording, but a space for invention. What fascinated Rotten was Perry's willingness to experiment with sound in ways that felt both chaotic and purposeful. Instead of polishing music until it was pristine, Perry let it breathe, wobble, and mutate. This influenced Rotten's later interest in depth, atmosphere, and the creative possibilities of noise. 3. Van der Graaf Generator. When Rotten first heard Van der Graaf Generator in 1975, he was struck by their combination of intensity and sophistication. Peter Hamill's dramatic, emotionally charged vocals gave Rotten a new perspective on performance. Music didn't have to be technically simple, to be honest, and it didn't need theatricality to be meaningful. Van der Graaf Generator showed that raw emotion and musical complexity could coexist, encouraging Rotten to embrace both expressiveness and structure in his own evolving style. 2. Neil Young. Neil Young's career-long refusal to stay in one genre resonated deeply with Rotten. Young could shift from acoustic confessionals to distorted rock storms without apology. What Rotten admired wasn't the style, but the restlessness, the refusal to settle. Albums like Tonight's the Night demonstrated a willingness to follow intuition wherever it led. Rotten internalized that philosophy. Longevity comes from evolution, not repetition. 1. Nico Nico ranked above all others in Rotten's personal canon. Her stark, haunting work on the Marble Index left him stunned. Here was music devoid of commercial ambition, uncompromising, emotionally raw, and entirely singular. Nico showed Rotten that the most powerful art comes from vulnerability and honesty rather than popularity. Her fearless commitment to her vision helped shape his own belief that authenticity matters more than approval.